What is up, everyone? Hello and welcome to ROG Pulse. If you haven't heard the news, it's real. The ROG Xbox Ally.
I have been waiting so long,
You have.
so long to share this news. I mean, the news is already shared. I didn't share the news, but I've been waiting so long to talk about it with you guys. Like, we come on stream here every week, and I'm just like, I can't wait. Everyone's been like, what about the next ROG Ally? We went through all of Computex, and people were like, no ROG Ally news? Are you serious?
Yeah, the comments on YouTube and just in the live streams in general, every single stream. What about the Ally 2? What about the Ally 2? Well, there it is.
Finally, we can talk about it. But it's not called the Ally 2.
Right.
Like I said last year, we didn't know if it was going to be called the Ally 2. The ROG Xbox Ally is here. Guys, if you saw the announcement during the Xbox showcase yesterday, you have a general idea of what's up. You can head to the ROG and Xbox YouTube channels to see some of the videos we put out on it. We are not going hands-on with the device on stream today. We don't actually have our own units to unbox just yet. Right. We're still kind of early in that process, but we do want to finally talk with you guys about what we saw yesterday. So should we start with a quick recap of everything?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So we've got two devices, the ROG Xbox Ally in glorious white and the ROG Xbox Ally X in beautiful black. Both of these were built in collaboration with Xbox. Xbox has always been a partner with us on these devices, right? We've provided Game Pass with the device, the subscription that comes with the device, and we've worked with Microsoft on a number of things. But this is something new. This is a whole new depth of partnership between Xbox and a hardware manufacturer. We wanted to do this because we wanted to address the biggest piece of feedback that was still outstanding on the Ally series, making the software more seamless and console-like, right? That is something that overwhelmingly you guys, reviewers, everyone wanted us to do. And we couldn't do it alone. So we got together with Xbox and said, let's do something totally different. So hardware-wise, we've got a brand new design here, ultra comfortable ergonomic handles. Designed to feel like an Xbox controller, but a little bit different because the device, it's a little bit wider, it's a little bit heavier. So the handles are shaped slightly differently, but it feels like a real controller. It does not feel like you're holding a handheld.
I mean, I just got to jump in and talk about this. We did get hands-on with this device already.
We did.
I probably played about 30 hours with the engineering sample, and we'll talk about that more later, but I played a ton in the 5 days I was in Taiwan.
We can talk about it now. We were in Taiwan, and I didn't set up enough meetings for Jake and the rest of the team as I should have. So Jake was like, well, I'm going to get in some serious game time with this Ally. And he just played this thing for so long, you guys.
Yeah. The performance I was really happy with, but it's just the ergonomics that stood out to me because usually I stream with the Ally X for a few hours and it's fine, but my hands might cramp a little bit. But I think I played like an 8-hour day one day in the office. I played the entire day we were in the office and I was like, wait, what? I haven't been uncomfortable at any point in this gaming session. And that is really impressive to me.
Right. It's good. I got some game time on it as well. It is really nice. I can't wait for us to actually get our hands on it and be able to play with it a bit more, like kind of long term. So apart from that design, we've also got chips from AMD inside each of these. So the ROG Xbox Ally, the white one, has the AMD Ryzen Z2A chip inside. And I don't believe AMD has released any sort of details on that yet, so we're not going to talk like super in-depth on specs, but I can talk about it a little bit what we're kind of aiming for with these. And then the ROG Xbox Ally X is the more premium of the two devices, both in terms of performance, because it has the AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme. But it also in terms of features. So it has a larger battery, 80 watt-hour battery on the X, 60 watt-hour battery on the Ally. And the X also has impulse triggers like Xbox controllers. So it has that extra set of haptic feedback in the triggers. So you get a little bit more varied, a little bit more nuanced kind of haptic feedback in games that support it.
Yeah, so slightly more premium body in that regard, but still pretty similar.
Yeah. Yep. So it's going to be really nice. But I think for a lot of people, what is really exciting here is the software that we talked about, right? This partnership with Xbox. in a lot of ways, this is unlike anything we've seen from Microsoft. The Xbox team has been able to go in and really kind of play with Windows to optimize the experience. So when you first boot it up, it is the Xbox. You get booted into Xbox full screen. Feels very console-like. The whole thing is navigable with a controller and gamepad. You can enter your PIN with like the D-pad and the buttons and the triggers and stuff. It's all
That's really cool.
people. Oh my gosh, people have been asking since the first Ally. Hey, can I navigate the keyboard on the Ally with my gamepad? That now all of that stuff is possible, right? But it's also very optimized in terms of resource usage. This is what's really interesting. Once that Xbox screen comes up, the Windows desktop is not like running in the background, right? A lot of those other processes that are not really necessary for gaming are pushed out of the way, right? They're not in use. So that gives you a much more optimized for gaming kind of OS. Now, it's not a walled garden though, right? Like a traditional console. It is still running the full power and flexibility of Windows under the hood. So if you want to, well, first, if you want to run games outside the Xbox ecosystem, you can, right? You can get games from other stores in the Xbox app, kind of like you do in Armory Crate on the current Ally. So your whole library is there. And then if you want to get really nitty gritty, you want to install mods or do other stuff on the Windows desktop, you can drop out of that Xbox experience down to a full Windows desktop experience. So I saw people asking, can I still use it? I use my Ally as a PC, like with a mouse and keyboard and a monitor. Can I still do that? Yes, it is still full Windows when you want it, and kind of a more pure-ish Xbox experience when you don't want it. Armory Crate is still present, but it takes a little bit more of a backseat to Xbox. Just in terms of like what's front and center. You can launch Armory Crate and it has all of the deep customization that many of you guys are used to, like if you want to adjust the sensitivity of the joysticks, things like that. And Command Center is still there, but now it's part of the Xbox Game Bar. So again, it's like completely integrated into that more console-like experience if you want to flip between performance mode and things like that. So
yeah, even just like the little things like beyond the
so
gaming
awesome.
elements of Windows, you get access to whatever media players you want to use in Windows. If you want to go that route, you get access to putting whatever files you want on there. And like you mentioned, just, doing productivity, working with a portable display with you as well. Some people do that. They sacrifice bringing a laptop. Instead, they bring a handheld with a portable display and a mouse and a keyboard. And that's their whole work setup because they're just doing, whatever kind of work they need to do.
Fun fact, the leader of the Ally project actually does use the Ally as his main PC at
That's
work. Like,
actually
he has the keyboard, he has the
awesome.
Ally. I'm like, dude,
I
that's
respect it.
dedication. I know, mad respect for that. Okay, I'm already seeing some questions in chat. Hey, so we'll still be able to play like Black Ops and anti-cheat games because those don't work on certain other operating systems that don't support that? Yes, it's still Windows. It supports all of those anti-cheat things and stuff like that. 100%.
More efficient Windows. Yep.
Yep. How much is it going to cost? We do not have pricing yet. We can talk a little bit about some of what we've done with the device, but pricing is not available yet. In terms of availability dates, not an exact date, but we're looking at holiday 2025, which really means Q4 of this year. So a little bit of time until it releases for you guys to make your decisions. Look forward to it. There it is, holiday 2025. And it's going to be, I think, in like 12 different countries. I don't have the list in front of me, but if you guys Google, you can find all of the countries it's going to launch in on launch day. But then I believe after that, we're going to try and bring it to other countries that have previously had the Ally as well. So yeah, otherwise I cannot talk about the pricing just yet. Will the OS be available for the Ally and Ally X? Yes, this is one of the most common questions I've seen. So let's talk about it. We do absolutely plan on bringing this new Xbox experience to the previous generation Ally and Ally X. However, the timeline is not certain yet, right? It's not going to be there on day one. I can tell you that, at least as far as the entire experience. But here's the thing. We're not really talking about one thing, okay? Certain aspects of that software experience may come to the Ally sooner, while other parts may come later. So things like the updated UI of the Xbox app, that's really easy for Microsoft to just send out to Ally devices. The game bar, some new Armory Crate stuff, Armory Crate in the game bar, like that's stuff that's a little bit easier to send out, while some of the other deeper integrations may not come until later, as there are some hardware differences between the Xbox Ally and the original Ally that like just may lengthen the timeline for that rollout. We're really focused on getting it ready for the Xbox Ally And then once that's out, we can anything that we haven't already sent to the Ally, we can start getting that ready too.
That's huge.
Our goal is to get yeah. Our goal is to get as much of it running as possible, right? It's just that the timeline for the entire experience is still TBD as far as those previous devices. So yes, fear not. We don't want to leave previous generation Ally owners out in the cold. We want to bring as much of that as we can feasibly, right? So how can one play Xbox games that they have on discs on the Xbox Ally? Well, this is a digital only console.
Yeah.
I can say that for sure. I have seen some people asking about Xbox games if you have an Xbox console. So we can talk a little bit about that too. You have a couple of options. It kind of depends on the game and things like that. So first of all, kind of easiest high level, if your game is Xbox Play Anywhere, right? If it has that Xbox Play Anywhere badge, you own a license for it on Xbox and a license for it on PC. Your saves are going to sync. It's going to be perfect. This is still a PC under the hood, though. So this is running Windows, not the Xbox OS. If you have a game that is not Xbox Play Anywhere, I believe it will still show up in your library, and you'll be shown an option to either stream it from the cloud with Game Pass, if that's something that you have, or you can remote play it from your Xbox, like in your house, right? That's an option as well. So it does depend on the game. I do know that Microsoft is making a big push to try and expand that Play Anywhere catalog as much as possible. Beyond that, I don't want to put any more words than that in Xbox's mouth. You know,
Right.
those are things that they've publicly said, and so I'm just quoting them there. As far as what the future looks like for some of those old other Xbox games, I saw people mentioning like some like back compat games, like Xbox 360 games and stuff like that. I can't speak to that at the moment in terms of what's going to be available at launch and what Xbox is planning for the future. But ultimately, this is a PC. So you're looking at things that you own on the PC version of Xbox kind of at the outset, and then whatever Microsoft expands from there. That I'll leave that to them to kind of announce what's available. This is more than cloud streaming, though. I saw a couple people saying like, "Hey, is this only a cloud streaming device?" No. You can absolutely download and install games from Xbox or any of the other stores you use on PC, right? Like you could like any PC game, you can download it, you can play it locally, you can play it offline.
Right.
It's just or you can cloud stream it, right? I know a lot of people have really come around to cloud streaming on the Ally because of that smaller power envelope of handhelds. Some people are like, well, my internet is really good and I can get, the game playing in all of its ray traced glory if I stream it. And so some people prefer that experience. Some people prefer to download it and play it locally. Like those are all options.
Yeah.
So it's really up to you.
Yeah, but this does have more power than the last generation of Ally. So natively, on board, there's the Z2E chip that's going to give you more performance than the previous generations of the Allies. And obviously, like you said, cloud streaming, that's an option, but plenty to work with there. I was really impressed. We can't talk about performance yet. I was really impressed with the performance of playing games when I got to test the engineering sample, but yeah, it's going to be nice.
Yeah. So a couple more questions here that I'm seeing. Why no Thunderbolt 5? So Thunderbolt is an Intel technology, and so it's not typically available on board when you use an AMD chip. AMD uses USB 4, which is kind of the more like kind of open standard version of that. And so that is what is available on the Ally because it's using AMD chips. But it is backward compatible with Thunderbolt 5 for things like the XG Mobile. And the XG Mobile should perform pretty well on this from what I've seen. I got to play with it a little bit myself. Again, I can't give numbers, but so we'll get to that point where we can give you guys more numbers. What I can say about these new chips, we know from last generation that battery life and efficiency are really important. A lot of you guys said you liked the performance of the Z1 Extreme when it was maxed out in turbo mode, but you wanted it to perform better than it did at lower wattages, right? So we worked with AMD to make that happen. The Z2 Extreme in turbo mode, the Z2 Extreme is going to give you a noticeable boost over the Z1 Extreme in turbo mode, right? Like it does have a higher ceiling of performance, straight up. But I think some of the real magic that's going to be happening on this chip is in performance in silent mode, because it should give you an even larger boost over the Z1 Extreme at like those same wattages, right? So if you're the kind of person that really liked to play at that 17 watt performance mode on the Ally and Ally X, you're going to get more performance, like a lot more performance out of that 17-watt mode on the C2 Extreme. Or you could drop down to a lower wattage for the same performance and get more battery life. Like, right? It's up to you.
Right.
So I think you guys are actually really going to like this chip once you see it in action. The Z2A, again, I can't talk as in depth about that, but it is also focused on efficiency at those lower wattages. We're really trying to aim for great battery life on both devices. For sure.
I think we said 60 watt hour batteries in the Ally and then the 80 watt hour batteries in the Ally X. So you're going to get really good battery life on this device.
Good battery
best
life.
in class.
Yep. So yeah, Lone Wolf Gamer, I see you asking how much of a performance difference. I can't give you percentages or anything like that right now. Like that stuff has to wait until the performance embargo closer to launch, when like drivers and software and all of that stuff is final. But it's looking good. I'll say that. I'm very impressed with it. I'm actually more impressed with it than I thought I was going to be.
Can I talk about fan noise? Am I allowed to talk about that?
What information do you have? Oh, sure. I mean,
I experienced it.
Don't give like decibel values, but
no, I mean, I don't have decibel values. I never heard the fans. I was pushing it all the way. The fans were never, they were like the Ally X, right? It was never any kind of noticeable fan noise.
Jake was also playing with the audio, playing over the speakers in the office. You guys, I wanted to kick this guy in the shins.
I played in the hotel room too. No, I had headphones on.
Yeah, I made him put headphones on. I was like, dude, this is too loud. He was having too much fun.
Yeah.
Too much fun.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to address this because I see a lot of people asking. People are saying, hey, why not an OLED screen? Why not 32 gigs of RAM? Let's talk about this a little bit. So we talked about this in the past with the Ally X, and a lot of our answers still hold true today, but I want to just say it since a lot of people are asking. Let's start with the RAM part. I know a lot of people are really attached to that 32 gig number. But when we look at handhelds like the Ally, right? We look at the Ally X, which has 24 gigs, and it's actually still performing really well. On a laptop or a PC, you need a bit more system RAM because you generally have other programs running in the background.
Way more multitasking, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot less true on these handhelds, which for the vast, vast majority of users are only running games on it at any given time. So you don't need as much RAM generally for that. I don't want to say you, I want to say the most users, right? And with the new Xbox experience that's coming, you're actually going to get even more of that RAM back for your games, right? That full screen Xbox experience, because it's doing away with the number of those Windows processes, it's going to get you RAM back. Right now, I think we have it at about 2 gigs of RAM that you're getting free, and we're hoping to improve that even further if we can.
Yeah, that's
really
really
which is
good.
Great. So while there aren't more physical RAM chips on board, you are functionally getting more RAM on the system than the previous gen.
And you'll notice
it's faster RAM too.
Yeah, you'll notice it.
Yeah. And I also want to point out that this does have faster RAM than the Ally X, and that tends to be more of a bottleneck on these devices than capacity is, again, for like most people.
Yeah.
Obviously we could have thrown 32 gigs in there, but then the device would cost more. And this is a thing we talked a lot about last year, and this goes to the OLED discussion too. So we'll come back to, I'll bring it home in a sec. Let's talk OLED. We've gone hard on OLED with our desktop monitors. It is no secret that we love OLED at ROG, right? But on the Ally, the calculus is different. We talked about this in more detail last year in our Q&A, and so I won't go quite as deep today, but we're in a similar boat. We did look at OLED again this year. We did some R&D and prototyping with OLED, but it's still not like where we want it to be when you factor VRR into the mix. And we aren't willing to give up VRR. I'll draw that line in the sand right now. I am of the opinion that if a display doesn't have variable refresh rate, it's not a gaming display in the year 2025, as far as I'm concerned, right? Like that's a must-have feature. And OLED with VRR right now draws significantly more power than the LCD that we're currently using on the Ally, and it costs more. So when we look at what people are buying in the handheld market right now, right, both in terms of what they've, like the sales of our devices and kind of what we see from competitors and stuff too, it's pretty clear what price bands people are willing to buy a device like this in. Because remember, it's a secondary device for a lot of people. It's not their primary device. And in fact, I see a lot of people in feedback saying that they want saying this exact thing, right? They say, I don't want to pay an arm and a leg for this.
Right.
Well, yeah, we don't want that either. That's why we're trying to avoid having it cost an arm and a leg by not putting things in that the vast majority of users don't need. We're trying to hit a reasonable price point on these. That's all I'll say on price. So you have to put kind of your expectations in line with the market and what we're doing here. So putting 32 gig OLED, Z2 Extreme, all of those extra bells and whistles would cost a
Price goes
lot
up.
more than the price bracket you guys are used to on the Ally.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of users are not willing to pay what that kind of a device would cost. In fact, it is very, very clear that when we look at what people want, they value a few things above all else right now. They want battery life, they want more performance, and they want a better software experience, right? Those are by far the biggest pieces of feedback that we are still seeing on these devices. And so we put all of our efforts into those things this year. That's why we are going so hard with this Xbox partnership. That's why we worked with AMD to develop these Z2 chips geared toward efficiency along that full wattage spectrum. And then we went on the hardware side. We said, these are the price bands we want to hit. How can we create the best possible experience within those price bands, especially with things like battery life being paramount within that?
Mhm.
So
Very reasonable.
that's it.
Solo's asking.
Sorry, chat kind of blew up while I was talking about that, so I'm a little behind now.
It's all good. It's all good. Solo's asking if this is worth upgrading from the Ally X. I mean, you're going from the Z1 Extreme to the Z2 Extreme, so you're going to get more performance than the original Ally X. And for me, ergonomics alone, like I like the Ally X. I think the original Ally X feels good, but this just felt at home to me. So ergonomics are even a step further forward, and those haptic triggers, like, oh my goodness, that too. So there are definitely some big merits towards that. And as we mentioned, the software experience will be coming to the original Allies over time, but maybe not right away. So if you want that day one, then you will likely need to upgrade to the Xbox edition.
I am seeing some questions about, is it still user upgradable? Yes, the SSD is still a user upgradable 2280 SSD. Very easy to pop in new storage there if that's something you want. The internals, you saw a peek at the internals in that video that we posted, the behind the scenes video. You'll see that it's pretty similar to the Ally X in terms of kind of how we're trying to keep it friendly to upgrade. An interesting kind of fun fact with this, we do actually have a little bit less, despite the fact the device is a little bit bigger because of those handles. The way that the handles are shaped, it actually shrunk the space inside the main part of the device. So we actually did have to shrink some stuff down to fit it all in, but still should be very easy for you guys to work with if that's something that you want to do. Okay. I am trying to
Did we
catch up with some of
I don't know if
the questions here.
Someone asked if the sticks are Hall effect. I do not know if we've made any changes or announcements to that.
Sticks should be very similar to the previous model. And again,
Okay.
like you can go to the Q&A last year and kind of see my answer about that. It's very similar.
Okay.
Bypass charging. Yep, should have bypass charging just like the original Ally and Ally X as well. So another thing that I thought was pretty cool when I was talking to Xbox about this, they are working on a handheld verified kind of badge for the Xbox app to try and help. In the past, it's been people have been going on our Discord and being in this chat like, oh, does this game run well on the Ally? What settings do I need to use? All of that kind of stuff. Xbox is trying to make that easier for you guys by putting kind of like the Play Anywhere badge and things like that in the Xbox store. You'll probably already see if you go in, it'll say like, most gamers have a good experience with this game on hardware similar to yours. They're doing something similar to that, but with a bit more, I think, manual input, like going in and verifying not just performance, but does this game have controller support? Does it perform well out of the box without you having to tweak settings, whether that's a default settings profile or whether it will auto detect your hardware and adjust the settings right? Like, does it perform well out of the box? Are the fonts readable on a smaller screen, right? Things like that are important for handheld gaming. And so they're doing some pretty good stuff in terms of looking for the stuff that really matters in terms of a handheld experience and making sure that when you're browsing the Xbox store, you'll know what games are kind of like A-okay for.
That's really cool. That's really smart.
Xbox Ally. Yeah, I'm into it. As someone who, as the person who was writing all of those optimized settings articles when the first Ally launched, I'm happy that, that's the other thing too, right? Like they're working with developers to try and make sure that games are well optimized for these devices as well. That's something I'm really excited to see, especially as we get deeper into this new generation of handhelds. So yeah, I'm excited that like Microsoft has thought about all the angles for this. It's not just, oh, let's like slim down Xbox and slap it. Like, no, they're really, really trying to give you guys the experience that a handheld deserves. What does the dock look like? Asks Martin. You have the dock.
The Bulwark?
We just announced a dock at Computex. And it's designed to work with this Ally as well. There you go. The ROG Bulwark dock. We saw a lot of people over the past 2 years, particularly Ally users, asking, okay, what dock can I get that supports the extra wattage in turbo mode when I plug it in, that has VRR output on the HDMI port, that has enough USB ports for a controller and stuff? Because not all like kind of generic docks have all of those features. So we made one so that hey, if I want a dock for my Ally and I want everything to work and be optimal, right? You can just buy the ROG dock. There it is.
Yeah.
I don't think this is on shelves just yet, but it should be by the time the Ally comes out, I think.
And just
oh yeah, there you go. He's got his Ally X. Don't drop it.
Yeah, no.
Jake will be doing some gaming with that dock probably
Soon.
in the coming months if you guys want to check it out.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
I have some questions. I lost them.
I know. I'm trying to catch up.
Can I run
trade-in programs? That's up to retailers. We don't generally do our own trade-in program. I can't speak to Microsoft if they have something planned, but for the past generations of Ally, I guess I'll say most trade-in programs were run through retailers like Best Buy or whatever in your area.
In terms of what the holiday season means, that means Q4 this year. And will you be able to run OBS on this? Yes, you still have access to the full Windows on this new device. It's just that it's going to boot in this new Xbox OS, this kind of like gutted version of Windows that's more efficient. So when you go into full Windows and launch OBS, it will use more resources as a result. I mean, you're tapping into OBS too, which is using more resources, but it will be possible to stream natively from that one single device for sure.
Yeah. XG Mobile 2025. Yes, this will support the XG Mobile 2025 with the RTX 5090 or 5070 Ti when that is available. That is still coming soon. All right. Kind of scrolling back down. Is FSR 4 coming to this handheld? I don't have the information about that. I'm expecting, this is right now, FSR is only supported on RDNA 4 GPUs. This is an RDNA 3.5 GPU. So as it stands right now, FSR is not supported. Could AMD change that theoretically? Maybe. I don't know if that's up to them in a lot of ways, and that would be a question for them. That is sometimes the challenge with having kind of so many partners kind of working together, is sometimes I'm like, I can't really answer that. That's
it's not.
I'm sure when right. So certain Microsoft and AMD kinds of questions, like when they're ready to announce things, they will. Some things may not come. Some things may. Yeah. Guys, seriously, this thing is so comfortable to use, and I was really, really pleased with the chip. I'm very, very excited to get my hands on this, and it seems like a lot of you guys are too, which I was very happy to see.
Yeah. I've seen comments in the chat, especially leading up into this event. There was a leak of this design, and people are saying, "Oh, I don't like the way it looks." I was kind of in that camp before I held the device. I was kind of like, I love the way the Ally X looks, right? I was used to that. This is different. I was like, why did we change it? Right. Then I held it and I was like, I see why. Yeah. Now I understand why we changed it. And honestly, I think one of the more impressive parts is just how much lighter it feels, right? It genuinely feels lighter than an Ally X because the weight distribution, the angle of the screen is a little bit different on the device as well. And the way that it just kind of fits in your hands it's perfect. Like I don't know if we can change it more, right? Like if I was to
well, that's the hard thing is like every generation the Ally X was so great. I was like, how are we going to improve on this besides putting a new chip in it? I did not expect this, but I'm into it. It feels really nice. I'm seeing, are the grips semi-soft or grippy? Says Sacco first, if you get me. I think I know what you mean. You mean kind of rubbery like the grips on like some of the custom Xbox controllers? No, it does not have that, but I'm sure some people will be manufacturing different things you can put on it. But part of the reason we did the handles too is because we saw so many people trying to improve the ergonomics with custom cases or handles or shells or whatever, right? And okay, with everyone's doing that, then that means that we can make it better out of the box,
Right.
right? For most people without you having to buy a separate accessory. So I see a lot of questions also about retailers. Will this be available at Walmart? Will it be
Mm.
available from Xbox? Will it be available from? I don't have retailer information just yet to share. That information will come a little bit closer to launch, and you guys will know where you can buy this thing. Don't worry. Can you? Can I play PlayStation games on it? I saw someone asking earlier. You can play PlayStation games that have been
On
launched
PC.
on the
Yeah.
PC. I'm sure. I think PlayStation also has a streaming app. I'm sure you could use that too if it's available on Windows. I don't know. I haven't had a PlayStation in a while, so I'm not quite as up on that. Can you use the PlayStation? I don't know.
Remote.
It's Remy.
If the remote they're asking, I think like the actual like. I
Oh,
think if it works with PC, the answer is yes.
if it works with Windows,
Yeah.
then yes.
Yeah, but I don't
If
know
it
anything about PlayStation peripherals like at all. Price range can't answer that yet, guys. We'll announce that when we have it.
This
Rel-
is a good question here. iRose says, is this going to be, are we getting a new console every year? We're trying not to. I've said this in the past, and I will say it again. Our goal is not to like manufacture FOMO and try and like throw new devices at you guys every 6 months to a year, right? That's not really our goal. We kind of see these handhelds as kind of in between a PC and a console in a lot of ways, and we kind of want to hit a release cycle, ideally that is kind of in between a PC and a console release cycle, whereas PCs have new hardware come out every year, consoles are like every 7 years. Something in between that would be nice. Not necessarily right in the middle, but something in between that. It's just hard because we released the Ally and people were clamoring so much for an updated version with all of this feedback. So we had to make the Ally X, right?
Yeah.
We had to. And then again, like with so much feedback about the software, once we started talking to Microsoft, it was like, okay,
we need to do.
we got to
something
do
bigger.
this,
Yeah.
right? And I think Microsoft wanted to get this out sooner than later. In fact, that's one of the things that they said was one of the reasons that they're partnering with us for the first time instead of making their own handheld right out of the gate, is that we can be a little bit more agile, right? We're a hardware manufacturer. This is what we do. Another Ally was already being kind of talked about and prototyped. So it allowed us to get this out a little bit faster than you might have gotten an Xbox made handheld, is kind of how they framed it. So, I in the future, we're hoping that it's not going to be a yearly thing every single year. But this is the hard thing. This gets a little philosophical here, but like the challenge is that you always have a spectrum of feedback. You have people that want a new device every 6 months because they have stuff they want to see. And you have people that say, okay, but I don't want you to be manufacturing FOMO. Please just give me a new device every 2 years. There's all that kinds of stuff, right? And so our job is to try and find whatever sweet spot we can. And you can never make everyone perfectly happy, but you can try to hit the best sweet spot that you can for any given generation. So we're working on it. We'll see. So that's me saying I don't know. I don't know when the next Ally is going to come out because this one's not even out yet. But ideally, we'd like to see a slightly slower release cycle because it's hard on us too
Right.
to just
The
keep
team
pumping out
is
devices.
the team is absolutely
Our team is working real
nuts.
hard on this. They're doing an awesome job. But I don't want to put more pressure on them, right?
I do. More.
That's the problem. It's like the selfish side of me that uses this device personally. Like I play on this device all the time, right? Not this one. I don't have this one yet, but the selfish side of me sometimes has different opinions than the more business savvy marketing side of me that has to actually work through all of this. Why is
so
Jake, you spelled my name wrong in my thing.
No, that was intentional.
One of our biggest streams of the year, and Jake spells my name wrong.
You'll
Good
thank
job,
you'll
Jake.
thank me later.
But we didn't get a chat about it until just now. We've been on the air for 35 minutes and just found out. We were just the excitement is too palpable for the Ally and Ally.
I wish I put Gorgon. Somebody said, does
All
this
the
mean there won't be another option for the old body in the future? I mean, we can't answer things about the future because we don't know what the future looks like, right? You know, this is like super exciting for us to have a collab with Xbox, and we're just hyped about that. We're hyped about the moment. Collabing with someone like Xbox is insane, and we can't wait for this
actually
device.
insane.
Yeah, it's actually insane. Like I never thought this was going to happen. And you know, what the future holds couldn't tell you, right? Beyond this, we could see literally anything and everything, but I don't have an answer for you.
I yeah, I mean, I'd be kind of surprised if we saw the old design come back. And we try. I mean, this is ROG. We try to do new things, right? We try to improve things, not keep things the same. And this is like something
True.
that I've said to people a number of times. Like people ask questions like, "Well, why didn't you do this thing that everyone else is doing, or why didn't you do this thing that everyone else is doing?" Because if we only did the things that everyone else is doing, that's not how you get on top, right? You get on top by making big, bold moves. Um, that's why we have these ergonomic handles that are pretty uncommon in the handheld space right
Yeah.
now, right? That's why we put an 80-watt-hour battery in the Ally X. But that only works for one generation, right? Because then everyone else will start to do it, and you got to find a new way to differentiate yourself. So I mean, that's just like kind of built into our DNA at ROG is we're always trying to push what can we do next?
In every
What can we do
category,
next to make this even
displays,
better, even better.
laptops, you
Yeah.
name it. Like,
And not just for the sake of doing it. It has to actually be better, right? Like it has to actually improve the experience somehow. Like I said, we're not just trying to manufacture FOMO and make you guys buy a new device every 6 months just to do it. That's not, you know, that's not really how we operate. There are some questions that I don't quite understand. I'm sorry.
yeah,
You have to phrase your question more specifically. Thank you, Lone Wolf Gamer. Yes, he says the best part is that ASUS doesn't just brick them for giggles. Yes. This is what people kept asking this for the first time. They're like, how long are you going to support this? And I'm like, I don't know. As long as we can. Like,
yeah.
if you look at our laptops, we're still pumping out Armory Crate updates to a lot of laptops that are like 5 years old. Right? That's what we're trying to do. We're same here. We're trying to bring this software to the previous allies as well. It's just, it might take a little bit longer.
Yeah,
That's the only
yeah, Danny, he just said that, but we do intend to bring the software to the old allies. Just not necessarily day one. We will see, possibly, but we'll see.
Yep. I've also seen some people say like, "Hey, can I still install other operating systems? Is it locked down?" Like, no. This
No.
again, same with the opening it up and upgrading your hard drive and things like that.
It's PC.
This, yes, we know. Like, I mean, first of all, we built it this way for a reason. We do believe that the best experience you're going to get is Windows with Xbox and Armory Crate as this is delivered out of the box, right? That's why we made it the way that we did. But we always support you guys to fully customize your devices however you want. We have seen some crazy mods out there. I know that modding community is always going to be active. Do your thing, guys. We're all hardware enthusiasts here, and we would never try to prevent you from being a hardware enthusiast.
You and I came to ROG because we're PC gamers, right? This is
yeah.
We love the Ally, but we came here because we love PC
although
gamers.
Ironically,
right?
the last console I owned was an Xbox.
Same.
So here we are, full circle.
Yeah.
I really loved the Series X. The only reason I don't still own it is because I had already built a living room PC in here too. But I'm a Game Pass subscriber. I'm locked into Game Pass. Windows is the only platform I can use for that reason. Game Pass is just such a dude. Game Pass has had an insane year.
Dude, I mean,
I'm every game on my backlog list right now is a Game Pass game. Like I gotta finish Doom Eternal or Doom the Dark Ages. I'm like halfway through. I gotta finish it before my vacation. But then I want to play Avowed. I want to play Clair Obscur. Like, oh my gosh, what a crazy deal, guys. And
I don't think we've ever made like a case for a device. So I think we're gonna let people like Dbrand do their thing. And then we're gonna do our thing, right? So
yeah, there's never I'll never say never, obviously, right? Because anytime I say never, someone's like, hey, we're doing that thing. So but as a lot of the point of those kinds of cases is to like change the feel of the device. We made the device the way that we think feels the best.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that we don't think that Dbrand should be put like we love that people are making cases for this stuff and that you guys can customize it to your liking, kind of like I mentioned, right? But you know, so now if you're talking about a carrying case, oh, he's saying like the kill switch.
Yeah,
Carrying cases we have done. So will there be a carrying case compatible with this? Well, keep an eye out for announcements. Who knows? Someone knows.
yeah, we've done those before,
Um,
but the kill switch is more like a phone case, right? Like a wrapper on your actual console.
yeah. It's like
I can't even imagine putting one on this.
I
More
feel like
for,
we need a different name for cases because there's case can mean multiple things. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just like, I ordered a kill switch case for something else recently because I could not stand holding it. And I'm excited for that to come. But I can't see myself buying one for the new Xbox Ally because it's just maybe you just want to skin it or something, but I wouldn't change the grips in any way.
It really does feel perfect as it is, in my opinion. But everyone has different hands, right? Everyone people like to modify their things. People like to do cool colors and stuff. I really want, now that we're working with Xbox on this, the time has never been better for a transparent green version. Who do I have to talk to inside ASUS to make this happen? Transparent green, just like the OG Xbox. How sick would that be?
Yeah.
I think transparent plastic is really difficult to work with. I think that's why
it doesn't age well either, right? Like you've ever had an old, like any of those, like from N64 to Xbox, that generation of that plastic, it didn't really age that well.
I think it's coming back though. I think
maybe it's a little bit nicer now. Who knows?
I do think that it is a bit more of a challenge than the standard black and white, but I can dream about it.
Why not 8 inches? That's something that I asked too. I think it's largely just comes down to like, sticking to nailing that right price point, finding, where to,
and it's tough too, because you also have to nail that sweet spot of portability, which I think we're still kind of finding out where that is, right? Like this is a little bit bigger than the previous one. How are people going to react to that? Let's see.
8.8 inch sounds too big almost. Like
8.8 inches is pretty big.
Yeah, that sounds huge.
And so everyone has different opinions.
It is true.
We haven't ruled anything out, right? 8 inches is absolutely on our radar if we want to go that route for a future device. Yes. It just kind of depends.
Trust
on what
me,
the
Team 8 inch.
holds.
I've been rallying for you, but I'm just one voice, right?
I originally wanted like a 5-inch handheld, and then I realized that
He's
was
Team 5 inch.
So
I'm Team 8 inch.
7-inch was actually no. I'm on Team 7-inch now. 5 because when I actually held 5 inches, I was like, this is too small. 7 inches, perfect. I just realized why you're giggling. Okay, that sounds like maybe it's time to sign off this stream for a day.
Classic. Sorry, I'm a child. Classic. But
I know it's all good. It's all good. I'm glad you guys are excited. I'm seeing a lot of excitement in chat, and we're excited too. This is not a typical stream for us. We didn't have like we're not doing the ROG roundup or anything like that today.
Yeah.
We don't have any giveaways planned. I just wanted to get on as soon as possible after the announcement because I know everyone was itching to talk about it, and I know a lot of people had questions. And frankly, I was itching to talk about it too. So I just thought we'd hop on today and chat.
Yeah. That being said, like we don't have any immediate plans to get one and show it off, but we will when we can. Obviously,
we're not there quite yet.
Yeah. But when we get there, we will absolutely be sharing more with you guys. So please follow us and subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels. We will be doing a bunch more game streams this week. We're going to play Doom and Dune. I know I had promised some of you guys Claire Obscure Expedition 33 finishing that, but I got game keys for the new Dune game, and I want to give those away, but I also want to play it myself. So we're going to do that after we finish Doom: The Dark Ages tomorrow.
Flash's unboxing stream. When we have one, we will absolutely do an unboxing stream.
100%.
Believe you me, we will go ham with the unboxing stream, and Jake will play games on it on stream too, so you guys can see how it performs and see how it plays when that time comes soon. If you guys want to see all of that and you're not followed and subscribed on Twitch and YouTube, now would be a great time to do that because it's coming at some point. It's coming, and we will be doing all of that on these very channels. Other than that, thanks so much, guys, for joining us today. Much more Ally news to come over the next few months, alongside all kinds of other ROG gear. So keep it tuned here, and we will see you guys next time.